Hello, and welcome to the Practice Marketing Podcast, highlighting successful strategies from North America's fastest growing clinics so you can learn from their wins and power your practice growth. Hi, I'm your host, Neil Trickett, CEO of Practice Promotions. And today's focus, we're going to talk about how to market your sports medicine and physiotherapy clinic. And we're joined here by Julie Holmes here from Peak to Shore Physiotherapy and Sports Medicine in Ontario. They're a 3-location practice, and Julie is the clinic manager. And it's a unique practice because it has physiotherapists, chiropractors, sports medicine physicians, athletic therapists, massage therapists, and also kinesiologists. So a lot of great disciplines there helping patients. So Julie, great to have you on the podcast here.
Thanks for having me. And actually, we now have 4 clinics.
Oh, fantastic. That's great. I love growth. Excellent. And so I'm curious, and looking back at the history here of Peak to Shore, was there a particular discipline that you started out with? Was it physiotherapy? Was it chiropractic? Like, and you added on other things as you went along? Like, what was kind of the history there?
So one of our clinic owners, who is a physiotherapist, had a solo practice himself, and then decided to branch out. So we did start with physiotherapy. We had 3 physiotherapists initially, and then we moved to a much larger location, and we added in chiropractic services at that time. And then we've just sort of kept adding from there. The 2 other clinic owners are orthopedic surgeons.
Hmm.
So they also have offices in our clinic. And then after that, we added in some sport medicine physicians and our massage therapy and athletic and kin. And we've had a few different disciplines over the time that maybe aren't with the clinic any longer. But it's certainly a busy place and keeps us hopping.
Sounds like it. That's fantastic. So I'm kind of curious as you've seen that evolution happen over time.
Mhm.
Um, what have you noticed in terms of as people in the community have gotten to know you? What do they like about coming to a clinic with so many different disciplines in it?
It's if you can use the term one-stop shopping, that seems to be popular with a lot of our people. And we tend to treat a bit of different things. So being able to come for different problems. We have a very active community here. We're close to the ski hills. We have mountain biking in the summertime and all kinds of other activities. And the population base seems to be an activity focused population. So the fact that we're able to help them with multiple different problems seems to really attract people to coming here.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And it's one thing I've just seen as a general um, rule, I guess, if you will, or just a general observation here. When it comes to Canadian clinics versus US clinics,
Mhm.
in the US, it's happening more and more. We see it happening more and more. But I think in Canadian clinics, they've been used to this for a very long time, where they integrate different disciplines together to provide a comprehensive solution for the patients. And we're seeing that happen more in the US. But I think what I've seen from some practice owners in the US is that the thought is that, oh, I can't have necessarily chiropractic care in here because it might compete too much with what we're offering, or offering kinesiology or these other things. But have you found in the clinics that there's a kind of a balance there between, or even a better sharing of offerings there for the patients?
Yeah, I find a lot of our patients tend to stick to one discipline at a time, unless they're coming for different problems.
Mhm.
But sometimes, we might have somebody that's seeing a physiotherapist that really, once the physio has done their modalities and treatment, the person just needs some exercise programs or something to complete their treatment, in which case, then we will quite often pass them on to one of our athletic therapists to work with them in the gym on the exercise programs. And sometimes, you might have somebody that's seeing physio that has expressed interest in seeing a chiropractor. We do have some patients that do see both physio and chiropractic at the same time
Mhm.
for different issues. But I would say the majority of our people sort of stick to one discipline at a time.
Okay. And how does that evolve or work with the physios and the sports medicine physicians in the clinic? Is there a good relationship there back and forth, or the patients that may need either service?
Very much so. We do see a lot of patients that are referred from our sport medicine physicians. The sort of important thing is we never mandate to a person where they must do their therapy, but a lot of them live locally, so it's convenient for them if they're coming here to see the doctor to see the therapist as well. Plus, there's some continuity of care because if the therapist has a question, they can talk to the physician about it,
Mhm.
and vice versa. We also, one of our sport medicine doctors also works in our local emergency department. We have a hospital here as well. So we tend to get a lot of stuff that filters over from the hospitals, from injuries, doing the different activities. So,
Excellent. And so, yeah, and again, um, we see in the U.S. here there are it tends to be a bit more of the sports medicine physician, um, then adds in the ancillary services of physio and kinesiology, these
mhm,
other things here. But um, again, it's happening a little bit more where in your situation where you start off with a physio and then they're able to bring in supporting disciplines, right?
mhm,
And so I think too that there is opportunities out there for people to kind of think a little bit outside the box. And if we look at it through the lens of the patient and the convenience to the patient, they really want that, like you said, one-stop shop where if they do need to have, let's say, casting, for example, that they could be with the sports medicine physician, have that handled, and then of course they want to go to a place that they know the doctor trusts too, right? And so then that's makes it convenient for the patient if it's fairly
yeah,
close in those locations, right?
yeah.
And so for you, I know that Julie, you handle the marketing there at the clinics too, and so I'm curious because you have all these different disciplines in the clinic. Um, have you approached marketing a little bit differently for the different disciplines there to attract a different type of patient?
We have, and a lot of it ties back to the work that we do with you on our website, and the newsletters that go out, which are very valuable. We get a lot of good response from those. I think the thing that I try to do is make sure that the marketing articles aren't specific to one discipline, because a lot of our therapists can help for multiple different injuries and problems. So when we're wording the articles, we try to make sure that we use the term therapist instead of just physiotherapist,
Okay.
because then that encompasses all the different disciplines. And it seems to get a better response because we're able, if someone calls in and wants to see a physio, but we can't get them in quickly enough, then we're able to offer one of the other disciplines, and say, we think that this person could help you as well, because some of them treat a lot of different things. Um, and I don't know in the States what the focus on chiropractic care is, but here it's a bit different, at least for the chiropractor that works in our clinics. Um, they tend to do a broader scope than a lot of chiropractors normally would. So we're able to quite often fit people in if they want to be seen quickly,
Hmm.
with one of the other disciplines, maybe other than the one they just called for.
Yeah, excellent. And here in the States too, just like in physiotherapy, there's a wide range of different chiropractic subspecialties, right? And so,
Mm-hmm.
sports medicine being one that would treat a lot of different, body parts with that versus just a traditional, chiropractic care there. So that's really interesting the way that you approach it. It makes a lot of sense, right? And it's something that we usually promote to our clients is that we want to again view this from the lens of a patient who's looking for help with their pain or problem, and that people are trying to figure out how can I help my problem, my diagnosis versus just what treatment should I go for, because a lot of times they don't know what treatment they should go for, but they know, hey, my back's hurting, what can I do with my back, and they're going to try to find someone who's an expert in helping them with their back. And if you're putting out the content around here's the things that you need to do to take care of your back, well,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to look at you more as the expert to turn to. And then when they call in, then that's up to your staff to direct them to where it's going to be the best fit. So,
Yeah, and we're very lucky that our front desk admin staff are great at knowing who needs what and where they should be going to. So,
Mhm.
because we do have some therapists that specialize in different areas. Because of this high sporting activities here, we do see quite a few concussion patients,
Oh,
which
okay.
is a big focus right now in all the sporting venues.
Mhm.
So, and our sport medicine doctors are also concussion management specialists. So, um, we're able to direct them where they need to go um,
So have you
through
found
that.
that to be something that's really in demand by the public when it comes to sports medicine? There's a lot of concern now over concussion management.
Very much so. Yeah.
Excellent.
And a lot of teams here, if they do have a diagnosed concussion through their program, especially if they're a higher level team, they have to get clearance to return to sport.
Hmm.
And without that clearance, then they can't do that. So there's usually a time crunch on that as well because the
Right.
kids want to get back to sport, but they can't until they get that clearance.
Gotcha. And so that's a great program that you have in place there, so that attracts people into the sports medicine program. Is there any other marketing strategies that you found work well to get patients in that's like specifically for sports medicine?
Um, the sport medicine, so our physicians do request that you have a referral from your family doctor. So we find that keeping the family doctors in the loop,
Mhm.
both our therapists and the physicians send letters back to the doctor outlining the programs of care and what's to be expected when the patient's coming for their treatments. And also because we're a smaller community, um, we do have a pretty good link with a lot of the specialists in the area and the family practitioners. So word of mouth is also a very important um,
Definitely. I'm
tool.
curious, do you do any kind of community events or anything like that because you are in a smaller community?
We do. Our athletic therapist has worked with a couple of the local teams providing sport coverage for the programs. We've also gone out to some of the bigger businesses and um, things in the area to offer programs for their employees.
Hmm.
So if they have, like a manufacturing facility, quite often you get a lot of people getting hurt on the lines. So do provide help with that as well. We also sponsor a couple of the local sports teams,
Hmm.
which helps to get your name out there. As I say, it's a very activity based community. So unfortunately, because of COVID, we had to sort of back off on doing any educational programs or anything with people. And I think people are still a bit hesitant to get involved in some of that. But we had in the past offered workshops
Okay,
that we put out to the community. We ran a running clinic at one point to teach people how to run properly to avoid injury.
great. And was that
You know,
something that your athletic trainers or your physios ran?
other physiotherapists ran it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. And so for you, have you noticed that uh, when you are marketing, doing different avenues of marketing here, that the new patients come from different sources for each discipline, or is it pretty general, like as the people come in?
I think it's pretty general.
Hmm.
Um, obviously for our sport medicine doctors, the referral source is either the emergency department or family physicians because they are requiring a referral. Um, but we get people from all avenues um, and, different work histories, different backgrounds.
Interesting.
So,
And so I'm just curious, if you're a physiotherapy clinic or a physical therapy clinic, and you're thinking about coordinating with other disciplines or bringing other disciplines into your practice, is there a particular disciplines that you have found more profitable in the clinic than others?
I wouldn't really want to put a number on that.
Of course.
We solely because of insurance coverage for a lot of people.
Hmm.
Some, I don't know what it's like in the States, but here, some plans cover physio, some cover chiro, some cover athletic therapy. So we try to tailor to what the person is
Yeah.
covered for. If they have, I would say probably 60% of our patients have coverage and the rest are all private pay.
Yeah, and
So,
I think that's one thing too that I've seen is that because there's such variations especially here in the US in different insurance plans and what they, cover in terms of visits and payments for different services and codes and all kinds of things like that, that it really makes sense to be able to offer not only from a treatment point of view, right? Different disciplines that can help people in different ways, but
mhm,
from a financial point of view too, sometimes the patient can be so limited by insurance visits that are authorized for, particular service, but they still need that kind of care. Whereas some of the other disciplines, you might be able to pick up some additional time for that person so
mhm,
that they can get fully better. So I think that's one of the other benefits of really looking at multidiscipline in the clinics is from that treatment point of view, being able to come at the problem from different ways, but then also to be able to have enough time because you might have insurance limitations against you.
Do you want more freedom in your clinic? Then you need to work on your business, not just in it. The top practice owners know that they need a marketing system that consistently attracts patients from the internet. And at Practice Promotions, we've helped hundreds of practice owners skyrocket to the top of Google and get more new patients from online. Go to practicepromotions.net/kit to get our free practice marketing sample kit. It includes all our digital marketing tips and tricks that will get you new patients from Google. That's practicepromotions.net/kit, KIT, for a free marketing kit. And now back to the show.
yeah, and we do have people, that may see a physio until they've maxed out their physiotherapy benefits, and they might switch to a chiropractor if
Mhm.
they've got some extended benefits that way. Um, just to, as you say, to round out their care if they still are requiring treatment.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm kind of curious. I mean, there's a lot of pros for doing that. Is there any kind of, drawbacks that if, or challenges from a clinical standpoint or anything like that from having multidisciplines?
Um, I think it's the hardest thing really is explaining to people what the different disciplines do because a lot of people don't understand, you
Mhm.
know, what a physio does, what a chiropractor does, what an athletic therapist does. So, having the people at the front desk that are able to explain that to people so they understand it a little better helps because, we'll get people to say, well, I don't want to see a chiropractor because I don't want my back cracked. And then we have to explain, well, that's not all that a chiropractor will do for you. So, it really comes down to relying on your team to work with everyone to ensure that they're getting the best care. And we're very lucky that we have a fantastic team here that work well together.
Awesome. And I'm sure that the whole team has worked hard together to get you to that point. But it
Mhm.
makes so much sense, right? We don't think about that sometimes from our patients, and that they really don't understand the differences between these different professions, right? They all have the ultimate goal of helping the patient get better, but there's
Mhm.
different ways and different things that they bring to the table. But again, that's our job to educate our patients as they come through is the why, right? And why
Yes.
would they go see these people? So
Mhm.
I like that. That's really really interesting. And so for you, and marketing at Peak to Shore here, you're the clinic manager and you're involved with the marketing here. Um, I'm trying to get the perspective here from you as a clinic manager and as the marketing, manager here. How do you find you're able to make suggestions and ideas around marketing and coordinate with the owners of Peak to Shore? How's that for you involved with your day-to-day marketing?
They're pretty good. They're very closely tied to the community as well. They all live in this community, so I think, and they're all very experienced professionals, so they tend to be aware of what's going on and what's relevant and what's current. Um, and we're lucky because we do have such an activity based community that there are lots of different topics that you can market to people to get them engaged with the clinic.
Mhm.
And at certain times of the year, there's different activities. Like right now, we're into our ski season. We get a lot of skiing, snowboarding, snowmobiling, snowshoeing, you name it. If it's a winter activity, people are doing it. So there's lots of different ways and your company certainly helps us with that, getting the articles out on the different media sources, um, to attract people. And we seem to get a lot of positive response from the different articles that we are able to target specifically to, the people in this area. I think it comes down to knowing your community and what people are involved in and what activities are involved in
Hmm.
to be able to market yourself. If you don't know what's going on, you're not going to be very successful at your marketing.
That's right. Yeah, you have to know your audience, right? Get to
Mhm.
be able to communicate effectively there. And so I'm curious from your end, just from how operations might work in your clinic, because
Mhm.
there's some clinics out there that are looking, hey, should I add on a marketing manager or someone who helps with marketing in my clinic? And I
Mhm.
know there's a lot of benefits to that, right? Because you,
Mhm.
as a practice owner, you can't do it all, right? You need to have an understanding. But I'm curious from your standpoint, since as you've grown and you have a bigger role there in the marketing side of things. Uh, do you just do you come up with more of the ideas of like, hey, this is our marketing plan, this is what we need to focus on, or are you work just straight up collaboratively first with the owners on that? I'm just kind of curious how you like to run that in your clinic.
Um, I would say that probably a lot of it, comes from me coming up with the ideas.
Hmm.
But certainly, so the one owner who was the physiotherapist, he does a lot of work with our national teams as well. So we get some marketing, ideas through that.
Hmm.
Uh, he's done some traveling with a couple of our national ski teams. So
That's really
he
neat.
has a lot of yeah, it is. And so does one of our sport medicine doctors. They're both heavily involved with, that. So
Mhm.
we do get a lot of good ideas and, things from there and a lot of input. But honestly, I do find that, practice promotions gives us a lot of really good ideas, on getting articles that are relevant for our clientele.
Fantastic. That's what we try to do, trying to help you out, right? Um, and I think that's a key thing because if you are a practice owner out there and you're growing in your business and you're thinking about when is that time to bring in someone that can help me with my marketing more internally, right, in the clinic, um, you know, part of the challenge too is giving ownership, right, and giving away some of those actions and decisions, but still being collaborative with it, right? So like for us here at Practice Promotions, we have Jacob's our marketing director, and he's fantastic, right? And so we've gotten to the point where Jacob actually has here's the strategy, here's what we're doing, right?
Yep.
And then as the owner, I can come in and say, hey, I love that part. How about we tweak some over here? And it's a collaborative thing, but you don't have to,
Mhm.
as the owner, you don't have to come up with everything. So
Mhm.
um, it's great to hear your feedback in that role of that you're doing those things and you're actually coming up a little bit more with the strategy part and then getting the collaboration from the owner on that. Uh,
Yeah, and we're also very open to any of our staff if they have
yeah.
something that they, want to be involved in or would prefer to do. Um, sort of open door, they come and talk to me about it. And that was how we started with that running clinic.
Mhm.
Was that, one of the staff thought were a very avid runner themselves and thought it would be something that would probably be valuable for the community. So,
That's great. I love that idea.
mhm.
Yeah, running clinics can be so powerful, especially for a sports medicine clinic, because whether you're an avid runner, right, which is going to be a big part of the audience, but still different weekend athletes, they'll get foot problems and leg
Mhm.
problems and knee problems, and they know that they need to work on the running aspect of it, so they can come to those clinics too. So I think running a running clinic is a fantastic thing to do for
Mhm.
sports medicine practice.
Yeah.
So, Julie, I'm curious for you. Obviously, there's a lot of tools that you use in marketing, and combined with your strategy. What kind of tools, marketing tools, have you used, and what kind of results have you seen from those?
Well, we use the standard social medias, the Facebook, Instagram, X, I guess it's called now.
Mhm.
Um, And I think we also try to really keep in contact with the physicians in the area. Uh, Even if it's just a simple sending them a letter after you see their patient for the first time,
Mhm.
because then they maybe get the idea, oh, I sent so and so to Peak to Shore for this, and the person seemed to have a really good response to that. So the next time somebody asks me where I should send someone for or where I should go, hopefully our name would come up as one of the options. Um, and we're also fortunate, our clinic is located right downtown. So we have a lot of foot traffic by the clinic. So
Mhm.
we also have, on our front windows, we have all the disciplines that we offer in the clinic.
Okay.
And we do notice a lot of people walking by that will stop and read the front windows. So I think signage is also an important marketing tool if
Yeah,
you're in a location to do so. Um,
absolutely. I like that,
and
and we don't often think about signage, right, that much. But if you are in a good traffic area, um, not sometimes we just kind of think, oh, we just have our name out there, whatever it may be. But if you do have those, I think again that's the attraction of having multidisciplines is
Mhm.
that they see that, oh wow, place must be good because they have all these things.
Yeah, and not only do we list the disciplines, we also list some of the conditions that we treat. So
Mhm.
um, that helps to get people in as well. And the newsletters definitely help. You reach a broad area of people with those. And we have the we have the three clinics. We now have four, which just opened, and that actually came about from some of the work with the local ski teams.
Oh,
Um,
excellent.
so our fourth clinic has actually been opened at one of the local ski clubs.
That's really cool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
So
we,
it's again finding those opportunities within the community where you can expand, right?
yeah, and I think, as I said, staying connected with your community, because word of mouth is a very powerful marketing tool.
Absolutely. It's one of the most
So,
powerful ones is that to get into that
mhm,
word of mouth phase, right?
mhm,
But I do think again, like as you look at scale of business, so in your practice, you're either, growing or you're shrinking, right? And
mhm,
you have to be kind of thinking with that growth mindset. And so if you can look at, okay, does it make sense for me to bring in additional disciplines, right?
mhm,
Does it make sense for me to look at that other location as another opportunity within that? Because I think one thing too, from a marketing patient perspective, is when they see a clinic that has multiple locations, they see a
mhm,
clinic that has multiple disciplines, the thought process is this place must be good, right? Because they're bigger, they're have more than one location, they have
mhm.
more than one type of you know um, therapist in there or physician, and so it's just that perception changes, right? The perception increases in that realm. So it's great to
Well,
see how that's evolved in your practice.
we're also fortunate because even though we have the four clinics, they're not really much more than a half-hour drive away from each other.
Mhm.
Um, so if you get somebody call in and you happen to notice, if you ask where they live and they say, oh, well, I live here, well, our one clinic is actually a little bit closer to you. Would you sooner go there instead?
Mhm.
And then we can transfer the call over. So it makes it more convenient for the patients as well. Um, and also because it is a short distance, if we maybe don't have an opening at our main location, then we can say, if you don't mind driving a little ways, we can get you in at one of our other clinics.
Right. Yeah, there's various opportunities there, right? So I think that again, the opportunities come with scale for
Yes.
that. I'm just kind of curious, in your practice, as you've been working with different marketing actions, is there any particular marketing wins or great results you'd love to share?
I think as I said, because of our work with the local ski teams, that was definitely a marketing win because they approached us about opening a clinic at their club.
Hmm.
Um, so, and that again goes to getting out to the community.
Yeah, I do think there's so many different avenues there, right? And you don't necessarily have to be near a ski mountain, but I know like you could be um, there's all kinds of professional athletic clubs, right? And you have to look for them, right? You have to look at where uh, you can find them, whether it's a soccer club, swim club, tennis club, any kind of like um, higher end kind of athletic club, um,
Mhm.
whether they're semi-pro, pro, or even just people who are very avid athletes.
Mhm.
There's lots of opportunities there, and I think that those are things that you can take, add them to your website, right? Again, that shows that you're working in the community. It shows that people trust you, right?
Mhm.
Different clubs and different people in the community trust you. So it's a win-win for everybody. And I think when you can bring um, again different levels of disciplines to those clubs and
Mhm.
have the ability to give back to the community right in there
Mhm.
and show that you're a valuable resource for them, it's a win-win, right? Strengthens everything up.
Yeah, and we've also, if you were thinking of going multidiscipline and wanted to expand, touching base with even your local school boards,
Mhm.
because a lot of them have sports teams. So, if you go to them and even offer to do a little workshop with the different people on how to avoid injuries, and then you get your name out there, and people will remember that when they do get hurt. Oh,
Mhm.
well, yeah, somebody came to the school and talked to us about this, and so we could go there to get treatment. So it's the connection, approach the manufacturing businesses, approach the other businesses in the area, get your word out there.
Yeah, definitely. Great networking opportunities for sure. So Julian, just curious here, you mentioned some things about working with us. I'm curious, how has your overall experience been working with Practice Promotions?
Fantastic. Very pleased. The staff are great. They're always responsive when we send in questions or, want to change something in any of the postings. Uh, really great crew.
Right. And I'm curious in terms of we've been working together now, I think for almost 4 years.
Mhm.
How has our marketing support helped you in your growth in your clinics?
I for sure it's brought a lot more people in, just because of getting us out there on social media, and we have a lot of people that maybe are affiliated with one discipline, that see an article and they might tag it or move it on to somebody else, and then it attracts more people. So there's no doubt that having different avenues of getting the word out there helps to reach more people. And I must admit, I probably don't do as much with marketing as I should, simply because of time constraints. And that's where the team of practice promotions comes in, as far as helping us get the word out there with the blog postings and things. Because we do get a lot of people that'll call us and say, "Oh, I noticed your blog on back pain. Can I book an appointment to see one of the chiropractors?" And so it definitely works.
That's awesome. It's great to hear that. Thank you so much for sharing. That's what we live for, right? To help support you and help you connect with your community. So, Julie, thanks for all your great advice here today. I'm curious, do you have any final words of advice for our listeners out there?
I think the most important thing is, as I've said several times during this chat, is know your community. If you
Absolutely.
know what people need and what people are looking for, that will go a long way to increasing your business.
Love it. Love it. Well, thank you, Julie, for being on the call with us here today and helping us understand the success in your practice, that the sports medicine side and the multidiscipline side. So thank you for sharing those tips and advice. This is Neil Trickett again here from Practice Promotions and our Practice Marketing podcast here, and I'm wishing you much success in your practice.
Thank you for listening to the Practice Marketing Podcast. Don't forget to get your free practice marketing sample kit at practicepromotions.net/kit. Start 2024 off the right way by building marketing systems that automatically attract new patients from online. That's practicepromotions.net/kit.